You are cheerful today as well, Piko.
Yes, I'm fine. The meal is delicious today too. I also enjoy talking and singing.
Eat well, sleep well, and play well. So you are living a happy and healthy life.
Yes. But I heard many birds cannot live very long, especially little birds like me. Being able to live long is wonderful and special for both birds and humans.
You are right. Oh, speaking of longevity, it's Respect for the Aged Day soon.
Respect for the Aged Day? What is a day for?
It is a national holiday whose purpose is to respect and celebrate the longevity of the elderly who have contributed to society for many years. It's the third Monday in September. It seems that many people who have grandparents give them presents. In Japan, on this day, centenarians are presented with a letter of congratulations and a silver cap as a souvenir from the government.
To live such a long life must be a great pleasure for them and those around them.
Yes. However, in recent years, situations have been becoming a little different. First of all, longevity is common now.
You mean longevity, which used to be rare, is now common, right?
Yes, and the increase in the proportion of the elderly puts pressure on government finances. I feel that the negative impression of elderly people and aging is becoming stronger. For example, words such as longevity risk and 老害, hard-headed old people, are often heard.
Japanese people have the longest life expectancy in the world, right? Do people have negative thoughts about aging? Does aging cause unhappiness?
Today, let's look at the current situation of the elderly in Japan and think about aging together. According to a survey by the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, the average life expectancy in 2021 is 81.47 for men and 87.57 for women, the highest in the world. By the way, these following figures show the average life expectancy in the world.
Oh, life expectancy is increasing worldwide.
This is largely due to the fact that medical services have been becoming more prevalent.
If there were no wars and epidemics, the average human life expectancy would increase even more.
Yes, life expectancy may be an indicator of peace. The average life expectancy in the world is 73.3 years. So Japanese people live about 10 years longer than the world average.
Why do Japanese people live so long?
There are two main reasons. Firstly, Japan has a well-developed public medical system, such as medical insurance and long-term care insurance.
You mean you have solid insurance when you are treated or hospitalized due to illness or injury, right?
Yes. Ordinary people only need to pay 30% of medical expenses. Elderly people and people with disabilities can receive medical care at a lower cost.
I'd heard that before. For example, in the US, going to the dentist costs big money. So only rich people can afford to go to the dentist.
I'd heard that too. Dental treatment is cheap in Japan. That's why I get my teeth cleaned regularly.
It's a relief that we can receive medical services without worrying about money. Can I use this system too?
All Japanese students are in the insurance system, so anyone can use it. But unfortunately, birds can't. Speaking of the medical system, I heard an interesting story from the driver when I took a taxi the other day. The taxi driver said, "One of my patrons goes to the hospital almost every day and talks to other patients and doctors."
That may be her regular routine to keep her healthy living. She can continue it because medical expenses are cheap.
One day, the patron didn't take a taxi, so the driver asked her, "You didn't take a taxi yesterday. Didn't you go to the hospital?" She said, "I was resting at home because I'm not feeling well yesterday."
She needs to go to the hospital at that time.
I think so too. In addition, most companies provide health checkups once a year. This allows the detection of disease and raises health awareness.
I see. One of the major reasons why Japanese people live so long is that they have an environment in which they can easily take medical services.
Another reason for longevity is Japanese food. One of the characteristics of Japanese food is its low fat content.
Oh, I see. Japanese food is not likely to make you fat.
Yes. In addition, soybean products such as tofu and natto, as well as seafood, contain a lot of high-quality protein, and seaweed contains abundant minerals and dietary fiber, which have the effect of preventing the hardening the arteries.
All of these ingredients are essential to Japanese cuisine.
As for drinks, green tea, which many Japanese people drink every day, is also good for our body. It contains rich vitamin C and catechins.
Great healthcare system. Healthy diet. Wonderful. I think longevity is nothing but a wonderful thing.
You think so? Now, let's take a look at the reality of the longevity of society. Japan's total population is currently about 120 million. According to a Cabinet Office survey, the aging rate, or the ratio of the population aged 65 and over, to the total population is 28.8%. In 1950, the population aged 65 and over in Japan was less than 5% of the total population. In 1970, it exceeded 7%, and in 1994, it exceeded 14%.
Currently, the rate is around 30%. I wonder what will happen in the future.
Although Japan's population is expected to decline in the future, the aging rate will continue to rise. About 30 years from now, in 2065, the aging rate will reach 38.4%, and it is estimated that 1 out of every 2.6 people will be over 65.
This means that the working generation has an increasing burden of supporting the elderly, right?
Yes, as you can see, the cost of social security benefits to maintain the pension system and welfare services continues to rise. There is no doubt that the burden on the working generation is getting heavier to support a lot of elderly people. It might be possible that the weight of this burden is connected to a lack of leeway in the minds of the working generation. I think that the reason why the word 老害 has come to be used is because of the sense of helplessness toward ever-increasing burdens and the negative way of thinking about aging. For example, when elderly people cause a car accident, you often see 老害 words on the internet that criticize them.
But even younger people cause car accidents.
Yes, and elderly people who complain to a store clerk are also called 老害. But these elderly who complain often may have been like this since they were younger.
You mean it's not that people have problems because they were old, but that people who may have had problems since they were young have grown old, right?
Yes, aging may not have anything to do with accidents or complaints. So I think we should not associate bad things with aging.
As long as we live, aging is inevitable. Seeing aging as a bad thing gives us no hope for our future.
You're right. Now, let's look at the other data. The study was conducted by a life insurance company named MetLife. They surveyed 14,100 men and women in their 20s to 70s nationwide about their thinking about aging. When asked if they were worried about their own future, 83.3% of them were worried about their old age.
Over 80% of people were worried about their future. Moreover, the younger generation in their 20s and 30s also exceeds 80%. What are they worried about?
Overall, money is at the top at 58.7%.
The numbers are especially high for people in their 40s. Also, many young people are worried about money in their old age.
When I think about money in my old age, I can only sleep at night.
That's no problem at all.
I'm just kidding. Concerns other than money are health, dementia, caregiving for me, and caregiving for my spouse. The survey included some interesting questions. This age is known as the 100-year time period, right? The question is, if you were to live to be 100, what would you need besides money and health?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. What do you think, Piko?
Affection. Love is the most important thing in our life.
Great answer.
How about you?
I think a life worth living or friends.
So, what was the result?
The most common answer is connection with other people at 30.3%. The rest are life purpose and hope, motivation, hobby, and fulfillment of life and work.
Number one is connection with other people. No matter how much money you have or how healthy you are, you will not be happy if you are alone.
Connection with other people doesn't just mean being with someone. It is important to contribute to other people, society, and organizations. Finally, let's look at another survey about connection with other people. This is an international comparative survey conducted by the Cabinet Office, targeting people aged 60 and over. The question is, who do you rely on other than the family you live with? In Japan, friends and neighbors are lower than in other countries. On the other hand, the number of respondents who say they have no one to rely on other than their family is higher than in the other countries.
If you have little interaction with people other than your family, your relationships will be limited and you will tend to become lonely.
Then, let's look at the result of the survey on close friends.
In the graph, Japan's blue bar is larger than other countries.
Yes, this part is the answer, no friends. In particular, 40.4% of Japanese men answered that they have no friends.
I feel sad that the elderly who have lived long lives don't have friends.
An expert said Japanese men tend to be bound by social values that say they should live strongly with no help.
I see. Maybe they need friends, but it's difficult for them to ask for help when they are in trouble or when they feel lonely.
You may be right. All right, that's all for today. What do you think, Piko?
Human life is complicated. Since you're still young, are you happy worrying about getting older? As long as I have good food and love, I will be happy.
I envy your simple way of life. By the way, Piko has a good mindset to be happy. Do you have any advice?
Advice? If I dare say it, express your feelings honestly, and don't forget your adventurous spirit to have fun in your life. That's it.
Adventurous spirit? Ah, you messed up the kitchen. A lot of things were scattered about.
I played a treasure hunt game to keep my adventurous spirit.
Oh boy.